It's now my great honor to introduce our guest speaker. Months ago, I gave our seniors 4 options for potential commissioning speakers, providing them with background for each of them. My intent was to offer them options for speakers who would best inspire, excite, and connect with them. They overwhelmingly chose Joe Sheridan. Played freshman basketball at this very venue and played quarterback for the club football team. He served as a Cobra gunship pilot. Among his awards and decorations during his military service, the Bronze Star with Valor, the Air Medal with Valor, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry. Mr. Sheridan's diversity of professional success was further evident with his service as a sports psychologist for the NHL's Tampa Bay Lightning hockey team from 2001 to 2003. Since 2007, he's also represented the USA National Masters track and field, the javelin throw, ranking number 4 in the world in 2014. Joe was inducted into Niagra University's Military Hall of Fame during Alumni Weekend in October of 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Joe Sheridan.
Thank you very much. I'd like to also thank your entire ROTC cadre staff for your kind hospitality since I've been here. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Father Mark, it's so nice to see you again. Thank you for taking your time to be here as well. Alumni, honored graduates, certainly your parents, family, and friends, good evening. Nice to see you all. It is indeed my pleasure to be back at Niagra, where it was my privilege to be part of this ROTC program. I heard that the first time Governor Mario Cuomo was asked to speak at a graduation ceremony, it was at St. John's University, and he thought he probably needed some pointers on how to approach such an occasion. So he went to the president of St. John's, Father Flynn, for some advice. The good Irish Vincentian, by the way, educator, told Mario, he said, commencement speakers they should think of themselves as the body in an old-fashioned Irish wake. They need you in order to have the party, but nobody expects you to say too much. I'll try and follow that advice tonight. May I begin by recognizing the mothers and fathers, the moms and dads of today's graduates. I'm certain that it was your love and your sacrifice that prepared your sons and your daughter for this special occasion, and I congratulate you. As I prepared for this honor, this distinct honor, I asked myself why. Why would these young graduates listen to me? Well, I too was a company grade officer, and I believe that I have more in common with you than you might think. You see, 50 years ago to this very day, I sat right there. And I can honestly say that the happiest, the most rewarding time, the most rewarding job that I ever had in my life was my time as an Army Second Lieutenant. ROTC, Niagra ROTC was top-notch when I was here, and today continues to rank in the top 10% of 272 other programs across this country. That's a special distinction, and I certainly congratulate the classy ROTC cadre for continuing that special tradition. In today's all-volunteer Army, you young officers have an advantage versus mine decades ago. You see, in an all-volunteer Army, they chose the Army. They weren't drafted. And today's volunteers, they seek a fulfillment in their life, a challenge that civilian life did not deliver. They're here because they want to make a difference. They want to be recognized as an integral part of a unifying team. They actually want to be led. Every one of them has a special skill. And your job is to find it, to implement it, and to make every one of your troops feel like their performance is a vital part of mission success. You see, second lieutenants, as you know, lead small units, a squad or a platoon. And there, nothing will ever replace the impact of your physical presence. You'll need no formal script, no digital device, no book on leadership. No, your troops. They'll embrace the tone of your voice and your spirit of intent. Face-to-face communication skills that develop leadership confidence and trust. Skills that will fortify you for the rest of your life. And that's a venue where I see as the healthiest environment for a second lieutenant to acquire the confidence to lead. And it's the very reason that I believe that your time as a second lieutenant will be the best job that you ever had. By the way, the gold bar that you will wear on your shoulder, it's identical to the one that West Point graduates wear on their shoulder. I respect the excellence of a West Point education, but in my opinion, and from my experience, I believe that the training you've received in Niagara's ROTC program has prepared each of us, young lieutenants, just as well. Starting tomorrow, the first option for growth for you young men and women will be to stay within arm's reach of your NCOs. Seek their wisdom and their experience, and you'll earn their trust. After all, NCOs do run the Army. What did Niagara ROTC do for me? My life's finest and most enduring relationships were nurtured right here on Mount Eagle Ridge. Right now, I can call several of my ROTC friends who shared with me the rigors and the challenge of military service in Vietnam. And if the need arose even today, 50 years later, each of them would be there. Each of us would be there for one another. My Niagara training prepared me with 4 leadership traits that 50 years has not altered. Leadership traits that continue to define the essence of a world-class, company-grade second lieutenant. Self-reliance, continuous improvement, team building, and integrity. My father, a World War II veteran, he taught me the meaning of the first trait, self-reliance, and it's the foundation for learning and absorbing and developing the other 3. Freshman year here at Niagara, my dad sent me a check each week for $6. It was my unearned allowance entitlement. Sophomore year, I decided I'd ask Dad for a raise. I took 3/4 of my treasured $6 and deposited them in the phone booth on the 4th floor of my residence hall in Clay Hall, and I called home. Dad didn't accept collect calls. If you all don't know what a collect call is, ask your mom and dad. Hey, Dad. Joe, how's it going today? Fine, son. How are you? I'm okay, Dad. But I was just wondering if you considered giving me a raise for my $6 allowance. Well, son, I'll have to think about that. But I'll get back to you soon. A week or so later, a package arrived in my campus post office box. It was from Dad. The package contained a set of hair clippers. Confused by the contents of the package, I deposited 3 more precious quarters for my $6 into the phone booth and called Dad again. Hey Dad, got these hair clippers in the mail. What are they for? Well, son, they're for the raise that you asked for. You do have ROTC drill on Mondays, don't you? Yes, sir. Don't cadets need haircuts to pass inspection? Well, yeah, Dad, but I don't have any idea how to cut hair. I learned many lessons from my father, but no lesson he ever taught me had a bigger impact on my life than his 2-word response. He simply said, then learn. The clippers sat on my desk for a week or 2. See, I chose to remain in my $6 a week comfort zone. Broke most of the time. But finally I mustered up the nerve to give it a try. I butchered my roommate, and I lost a few friends over bad haircuts. But slowly I became a little more proficient. In 2 months after the hair clippers arrived, I was earning $45 a week cutting ROTC cadets' hair in the bathroom adjacent to my dorm room in O'Shea. My father, he never sent me another check. More importantly, I learned that I'd never need one again. Second lieutenants armed with self-reliance. They see more options, they take more risk, and they become more accountable. They bust through every challenge that they're faced with. Thanks, Dad. My ROTC experience also blessed me with great mentors, principled men like Major John Castro, a decorated Vietnam combat platoon leader. He drilled me in leadership skills that have sustained me in my life's greatest challenges. One in particular, and the second of the 4 leadership traits, is continuous improvement. You see, Castro insisted that real leaders in combat, even in garrison, by the way, they envision a better way to complete the mission. I was a Cobra helicopter gunship pilot in Vietnam, and 6 weeks into my tour, I was concerned that my unit was sustaining unusually high aircraft and personnel casualties. Customary 101st Airborne Division strategy for the Cobra gunship was to fly the aircraft very low to the ground and at a very slow airspeed. The assumption was that the low, slow flight allowed the powerful Cobra rockets to engage and eliminate an enemy that was determined to blow us out of the sky. Well, I had 10 months to go and a pregnant wife at home. So I questioned the low, slow flight. But as a second lieutenant, I was hesitant to challenge established protocol. So I wrote a letter to Major Castro, still teaching right here at Niagra. And I explained my dilemma. 2 weeks later, as the casualties continued to mount, I received a response from Major Castro. Lieutenant Sheridan, he wrote, if you don't compromise the integrity of the mission, nor put the troops you're responsible to protect further in harm's way, well, I suggest that you fly higher and faster. You're going to get some pushback, he continued. So you better prove that your decision saves lives. With a major suggestion, I did begin to fly higher and faster. And within weeks, casualties declined and morale improved. By the end of my tour, new pilots coming into our unit for training, they beat a path to my door. By the time that I left Vietnam, the hot fly high, fly fast tactic, it became standard operating procedure for the Cobra helicopter. Self-reliance and continuous improvement, traits that Major Castro and my dad inspired. They improved the odds of my survival not only in combat, but throughout my entire life. Wherever you are, Major Castro, I've always wanted to say, thank you, sir. Uniting troops to pursue a common cause. Team building. Team building is the third essential leadership trait that time has not altered. And when I think of great team builders, Niagara's old and famous basketball coach, Frank Layden, he comes to my mind. In the 1969-70 basketball season, Frank had a vision. His vision was to maximize the incomparable shooting skills of All-American guard Calvin Murphy and to reach the NCAA tournament. But Frank knew that he'd need a selfless ball-handling point guard capable and willing to get the basketball into Calvin's hands. A master motivator he was, Frank, he convinced Mike Brown, a Niagara Falls high school superstar recruit, to accept a lesser role. You see, Mike Brown was a great shooter himself. Frank said, Mike, you're going to lead the entire nation in assists. You're going to get the ball to Calvin. Mike Brown accepted his role, and every player on Frank's team accepted their role. As the season wore on, Frank's strategy was tested, and your strategies will be tested too. You've got to be ready for that. But he convinced his team, as you'll convince your troops, to focus on a united goal, to stay close to one another, to be accountable. Niagara finished that basketball season ranked as high as number 14 in the nation. It was the highest rank that any Niagara basketball team ever achieved. They defeated Penn in the NCAA tournament. And Calvin Murphy, he became a national treasure. Now that's team building. Can you imagine how productivity would soar if corporate America, let alone Congress, would embrace Coach Layden's recipe for team building? As leaders, you, like Frank, your job is to build accountability within every member of your team. Do that, never lose. The fourth, and the most important leadership trait that time will never alter, is integrity. It means doing the right thing, even though you might have to pay a huge price for it. Integrity. It's the bedrock upon which trust is built. Without courage to stand tall regardless of the challenge, there is no integrity. In Vietnam, Niagara's own 1965 graduate, Second Lieutenant John Bobo, he was leading his 14-man platoon. when they were brutally attacked by enemy automatic weapons and mortar fire. Lieutenant Bobo was mortally wounded by an incoming mortar. He refused evacuation, choosing instead to be placed in a firing position that would protect his troops' movement to a better location. Lieutenant Bobo, he single-handedly repulsed the enemy attack, and his courage saved the lives of his entire unit. Posthumously, Niagara's own John Bobo earned our nation's highest honor, the Congressional Medal of Honor. His ultimate sacrifice defines integrity. John Bobo, along with literally hundreds of other Niagara graduates, had made a huge and very positive. Never forget that many of Niagara's most distinguished humanitarians are the nurses who graduated with distinction from Niagara's ROTC program and from this university. Some are enshrined in Niagara's ROTC Hall of Fame. And millions of the world's sick and underprivileged have felt our nurses' empathy and compassion. Nurses who define the true meaning of the Vincentian motto, that all may know you. Their commitment to serve those less fortunate is a model of service that we should all follow. The few times that I've returned to Niagara the past 50 years, here on these hallowed acres, I always sense a stillness, a comforting, soothing sensation, and for just a brief instant, in the calmness of those moments, I recall as if it were yesterday, when Niagara nurtured me in her womb for 4 years, and her engaging voice re-energizes me right now. I always resist leaving because I really like to stay safe right here. But I know that I can't stay. That Vincentian motto, that all may know you, asks that each of us accept her challenge and fulfill her founder's request to leave Niagara and to serve all of humanity. I can assure you, young men and young ladies, that I am deeply honored to be in this place and in this time with you young officers. Once more, how I wish I could embark on this journey with you. So with sincerity and humble pride, may I congratulate each of you on this extraordinary accomplishment. Fly high, fly fast. Thank you, and may God continue to bless Niagara University.